D'Angelo Pons continues to defy the odds and prove, despite his smaller size, he's a top cornerback in the 2026 NFL Draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, the national championship game was last night. It's all over and done. The Indiana Hoosiers went undefeated. And we're going to talk about the money makers. We're going to talk about the bag fumblers, those guys who dropped their stock. And we're going to hand out the game ball on today's show from the national championship game. And let's start off with our money makers.
No hiding from the tape. It's time for money makers and bag fumblers.
What a good game. It was a tough, physical, gritty game last night. But D'Angelo Pons, the cornerback out of Indiana, this young man played a heck of a game last night in the national championship, and he continues to defy the odds. D'Angelo Pons, for those who don't know, he's a 5'9", 173-pound cornerback for the Hoosiers, who basically came over from JMU with Curt Cignetti, and this young man was absolutely lights out versus the Miami Hurricanes and that talented wide receiver core. Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes targeted D'Angelo Pons 7 times, only allowing 2 receptions for 23 yards. He had 3 pass breakups in this game as well. And the thing I love most about him is, listen, when you listen to this show, for all our everydayers, we thank you. For everybody who's now tuning in on this draft season, hey, pop a squat, grab a seat, grab your drink, hit subscribe, stay subscribed, and become an everydayer every single day. How about doing that? All right. But nonetheless, if you know that for our everydayers, you know one thing about me, I'm a tactician, I'm a technician in terms of how I'm evaluating guys, especially cornerbacks. Footwork, patience, eye discipline, hip swivel, staying square. Those are the things that D'Angelo Pons does so well. He can speed turn and zone turn, get right back in phase. But what I love is that even though he's 5'9", 173, this dude plays so much bigger than that, guys. There were plays where he's knifing into the backfield and tackling Mark Fletcher, who's like 225, right? Heck, at times Mark Fletcher looked like Derrick Henry to me last night. Right? The big body, the tall, high cut running style, high knees, and the physicality he runs with, and then the speed in open field. I was like, Jesus Christ, he might take this game over and win it for Miami. And you saw Pons, 5'9", 173, every bit of that 173, throwing his body around, and making secure tackles too. Listen, Keith has said multiple times, DP, I don't need my corners to be to tackle like safeties. For me, I'm the opposite. I want my corners to tackle for the most part, right? I'm not saying you have to tackle like safeties. Like Keith's like, hey, your number one job is to cover. Yeah, that's true, but you got to be able to tackle. And the one thing about D'Angelo Pons, he can tackle. And that's what I love about him most, is that he is fearless. He is tough. He is gritty. And he plays with enough physicality at his size. And then you see it at the catch point, talking about working back, triggering downhill, clicking and closing, and then violently raking through the hands of a wide receiver who's trying to make that catch. Somebody's going to get a steal with this young man. Right? And you can say, well, DP, that means you're betting on him being an outlier as an outside corner. Okay, maybe I am. Or maybe I just look at a really good player, right? A guy that's been super impactful for 2 years. Maybe I'm looking at a player and say, you know what? Even if I don't play him outside, I'm playing him in the nickel. He's going to be one of my starting corners, because I've seen enough 6'1" guys who can't move a lick, who can't make plays on the ball, who can't show fluid hips to flip and swivel and transition with receivers. D'Angelo Pons is one of the best cornerbacks in this draft class. If he were 5'11", I've said it again before, I'll say it again. If D'Angelo Pons was at least 5'11", he would be a top 15 pick, top 20 pick, bar none. We would not be questioning what this young man offers to an NFL franchise. But let's flip stay on the same side of the ball, other team. Mohamed Toure, man. Listen, again, my everydayers. If you know me, if you know your boy DP, my last year at the Senior Bowl, at the Draft Network, I'm sorry. I worked when I was working with Keith there. I remember coming into the off of summer scouting, and I was like, hey, this Mohamed Toure kid at Rutgers, he's athletic, he's physical, he's instinctive, right? What 6'2", like 230 or so. Mohamed Toure gets after it, man. And he got after it in this game. He got after it in this game, guys. And I was really impressed with how you talk about needing somebody to set the tone. I believe he had like 9 tackles. He had a hit on Fernando Mendoza where he just rocks him. Like they were trying, it was a concerted effort. And you could tell it was a concerted effort from Miami and Mario Cristobal and crew. And you got Ray Lewis in attendance and Ed Reed and Michael Irvin and all of that. Right. And a big thing. Yeah, he's 6'2", 235. I want to make sure I had the weight and everything correct. 6'2", 235 for Mohamed Toure. One of the things it was easy to understand. When you have the old guard there and you've made it to this level, to this point, the national championship game, you defy the odds yourself. Talk about D'Angelo Pons defying the odds. You defy the odds in terms of Miami, where no one believed. I didn't believe that this defense was going to be where it became and where it's gotten to at the beginning of the season. I remember doing the stream at Bleacher Report. And I'm like, I don't know how we have them top 10, right? Well, guess what? They end up being top 2 in terms of the teams that were last in the dance, and they came in second place. But nonetheless, Mohamed Toure, man, bringing that attitude, that energy, that physicality to this defense and to that second level. Loved every minute of it. The hits, the physicality, the speed. This is a player who he's torn 2 ACLs. Okay. He's torn 2 ACLs. And that's something that the medical red flags, all that type of stuff, we're going to wait to the combine for that. And I hope he gets invited, right? Because if he tore 2 ACLs and still runs fast and still showcases, hey, I can move the way I moved on film, I'm still a good linebacker. It's just add another name that you need to have. And he might come off in the 4th round because of the medicals. But somebody's going to get a leader. Somebody's going to get a tone setter with this young man. And he brought every bit of it. He brought the juice to that. The defense was already juiced up, right? But he brought that juice, that energy, and everything. And I loved it, man. I loved it. Mohamed Toure, so especially what he's gone through with the ACLs and the injuries. So happy for him, man. Shout out to him. The Hurricanes played a physical brand of football last night. And they've done it pretty much all season defensively. But I got to go back to Indiana and close this thing out with Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver for Indiana. And it's simple for me, guys. When you look at this game, the pressure, right? You think about what Miami had. Miami, listen, we're not going to let you get after Carson Beck and stress him out and force bad decisions and turnover-worthy plays and all of that, right? So what did they do? They used Malachi Tony. Malachi Tony was 10 of 12 for 122 in the touchdown. But it was the ways that they got him the football, screens and dump offs. It's the easy stuff, easy access to free grass. Well, Omar Cooper was 5 of 7, 71 yards, average over 14 yards per catch in this game. And it wasn't just that, but, of his 71 yards, 57 came after the catch. And he had 4 first downs in this game as well. So you're talking about that impact as a receiver to when I think it was at one point, I think it may have been the second half. I can't remember. But I remember the graphic popped up that Fernando Mendoza had like 3 dropbacks and he had 3 sacks. Like they sacked that defensive line was dominating Indiana's offensive line for the majority of that game, which we kind of expected, right? Khalil Benson was getting worked like that. It was a lot going on. So Ruben Bay, Makeem Messidor, Moton, that's another one. That's another big time. And to me, he helped himself a lot in this game as well, the D tackle. But we're talking about Omar Cooper Jr. When they needed to sustain some drives and secure some drives, they were able to do that and get the ball in his hands. I think they ran a sprint out with he went in motion. They tracked the linebacker to see if he was going to flow with them. He flowed back inside, but he didn't go back outside. Then they sprinted out to the left, sprint out left from Fernando Mendoza, drills the throw to Omar Cooper. I think it converted the first down, but they were able to get the ball up the field, get yards after catch. And those are the type of things, while Elijah Surratt struggled, which we were talking about in just a moment, Omar Cooper made some big plays. Him and Charlie Becker came big for Mendoza down the stretch. But guys, Coming up next, what goes up must come down. We got to talk about the bag fumblers from the national championship game. If you've ever hired someone who just looked good on paper, but they weren't the right fit, you know how important that is when you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for. Trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. So you can spend more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. What if sports were treated like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not just you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had that dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And guys, you know the same way we know. You're our family, and we love y'all. We appreciate everything you've done for me and Keith since taking over this podcast back in, 2023 and being an everydayer. But you can level up being an everydayer, and you can get access to us without just listening to the podcast, guys. By becoming an everydayer and joining the Everydayer Club and subscribing to that, guys, you will get an invite to our invite-only, members-only Discord server, where you can jump into the NFL Draft Discord server, ask us any questions you want, talk shop with us, all that type of stuff. But not only that, guys, you could talk to each other about your favorite prospects and who fits your teams and things of that nature. But also by becoming an everydayer and joining the Discord server, you get access to your team's favorite Discord server, but also other sports. I'm in the Detroit Pistons because I'm a Detroit Piston fan. So you can talk with other fans from your fan bases of other sports as well. But for us, you get to talk to us. Mock draft, player comps, what have you. All you need to do is go to lockedonnfldraft.supercast.com to subscribe today. What goes up must come down.
No hiding from the tape. It's time for Moneymakers and Bag Fumblers.
And this one pains me, guys, and that is Elijah Surratt, wide receiver out of Indiana. Shout out to him. He's had an incredible season, all right? Incredible season. I think he ended the year with 15 receiving touchdowns, with less than, because he missed some games too, which is crazy. He probably could have had 20, maybe 20 plus to that back shoulder fade. And fun fact, if you didn't hear this on the broadcast or even on the pregame show, they talked about how Elijah Surratt, he sent clips of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams throwing the back shoulder fade to Fernando Mendoza over the summer and saying, listen, we can do this. We can execute this. We can kill this. And they did all season. In this game, it was not successful though. He was targeted 7 times, only caught 3 passes for 28 yards in the game total. And it was just a physical play of the corners that really got to him. The physical play from those defensive backs from Miami. They got to him. I just would have liked to see Surratt be able to separate better against that physicality, don't get me wrong, there was some missed DPIs and some misholding. They were letting them play, though. They were letting them play, and I'm fine with that, right? Outside of some of the hits they allowed on Mendoza early in that game, but they were letting the receivers and DBs play. So if you're going to call that a spade, and I'm fine with it. So I think the reason why I think it may hurt Elijah Surratt's stock a little bit is it highlighted the fact that he's not going to run by you. Guys, typically, if DBs feel like they can, if you are fast and DBs feel like they can get hands on you and reroute you and outplay you with strength and physicality in the contact window, yes, they will get hands on. They will reroute you. They will play tight press coverage. They'll do all those things. Now, the problem becomes if you don't have the speed, they definitely going to feel comfortable getting up on the line of scrimmage, pressuring you, trying to disrupt your timing and everything else. They're going to do all those things. So I think that's something that will kind of rear its ugly head for Elijah Surratt after such a productive season. Again, 15 or so touchdowns this year for Surratt, right? He's been money. That back shoulder fade, being able to win contested catches. He's 6'2", 213. Yeah, like over 800 yards this season and 15 receiving touchdowns. And he also missed like two or three games. So when you look at Elijah Surratt, you say to yourself, hey, this is a really good football player, good route runner, short area quickness, all of that. But the athletic profile may scare some teams off, and it may force him into a power slot role, which is still fine as well, right? It's still good. If you need a slot, he can absolutely fill that role for you. He feels like a San Francisco 49er wide receiver. I'm not gonna lie. He feels like a San Francisco 49er power slot wide receiver that's going to have 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns and be that chain mover and security blanket for Brock Purdy. Just feels like that for a Kyle Shanahan offense. But yeah, he did not help himself in this game. Just not being able to, again, even if they're letting you play with physical, you got to get these guys off of you. You got to get them off of you. And he just couldn't do that. Sticking on Indiana's side, the left tackle guy I've been praising all season because he's been money all season up until last night. And that is Carter Smith, the left tackle for Indiana. In this game, he allowed 2 sacks, 2 hurries, and 4 pressures. He struggled against Akeem Messidor and that pass rush. Ruben Bain and those guys, they were able to really stress him. You know what I mean? From you wonder if, hey, is he athletic enough? Is he going to get out and be able to mirror and match guys, right? Like, is he more of a right tackle? Is he more of a guard, right? When you think about, what he does and how he plays and where his strengths lie, 6'5", 313. I think this is a guy that can play tackle in the league. He's been really good all season. Right, he's been outstanding. I think this might have been his worst. Oh, this was easily his worst game. Yes, because up until the national championship game, he had not allowed a sack all season. The only 2 sacks he's allowed per PFF came in the national championship game, right? And he's allowed 8 hurries and 10 pressures all season. 2 of those hurries, national championship game. 4 of his 10 pressures, national championship game. So. Yeah, and this is a guy that's played predominantly left tackle. He only has like 60 snaps of playing right tackle. So, yeah, it will be a little bit of a project for an NFL team, getting them with a good old line coach, working on. I think when you draft him, you're going to have to tell him, hey, we're playing you at right if you're going to play him at right, so that he can go ahead and get that body functioning and everything down packed. But, man, I think when you look at how the game went for him last night, it was rough. It wasn't great. It wasn't clean. And again, that defensive line was pressuring and getting after Fernando Mendoza all night long, and Carter Smith was a big part of that. Guys, let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about Carson Beck. Carson Beck had a legacy drive moment in the national championship game, right? That would have really shined and showcased, hey, I'm more than just a game manager. Well, you didn't do it, Carson. You actually threw an interception against cover 2, and the ball was severely underthrown. Shout out to the DB. The cornerback was playing cover 2. There wasn't anybody in the flat area, so he carried, and stuck with the vertical route. And Carson Beck just popped up a lollipop and just just threw up the rainbows and gumdrops and everything. And yeah, the ball died, and it just was an easy interception for for the DB, the cover 2 corner down the field. You were, I know Hurricane fans were just like, man, we saw this. We've seen this story before against Ole Miss. We've seen it. He's gonna come back and he's gonna make the plays, and he's gonna, that last drive, he's gonna score with 10 seconds left, and Indiana's gonna be done, right? No, he turned it over. He turned it over. And again, I think for me, it's just, again, I think when you look at my report over at Bleach Report, one of the things I put in there, that he could be a high-end game manager. I think this is a guy for those teams that feel like, hey, man, we got the roster. We just need a quarterback to come manage the game. We got elite defense, right? All of that type of stuff. And yeah, you feel really good about it. And you say, you know what, let me get Carson Beck in round 3. You're not drafting him high, but I get him round 3. Well experienced, instinctive passer, can anticipate throws, can throw with good accuracy, all of that, right? And you could talk yourself into it. But in terms of being a franchise savior and a franchise quarterback, yeah, that's a very hard thing to talk yourself into. Nonetheless, trying to talk your fans into. So I personally don't foresee that being the case. I do think that what he did was confirm that, hey, you can win with me. You're probably not going to win because of me. And that's going to be the key. Once we decipher between the two, it's a lot easier to navigate. When you say, hey, you know what? I can win with this guy. I won't win because of this guy. Carolina Panthers have Bryce Young. They can win with Bryce. They're not going to win because of Bryce. He's not going to be the catalyst to them winning, right? It's multiple quarterbacks we've seen throughout the years be like that, the game manager type. And it's like, hey, that's it's not a negative until it's time to pay you. Then it's a negative. It's like, I'm not paying you $55 million a year, APY, to be a game manager. So for Carson Beck, good quarterback, game manager archetype that's you can win games with. He might be able to get you a game-winning drive here or there, but he's not going to be the catalyst. He's not going to Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Caleb Williams. He's not going to be the reason that you're winning games and you're in the playoffs. He's going to be a cog in the machine. He's going to be the hitch to the truck and to the trailer. That's what Carson Beck is. But guys, coming up next, it's time to hand out the game ball. And I feel like it should go to a quarterback that took a beating, stood tall, and make some plays. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot, for being our everydayers. It's time to hand out our game ball.
I'm calling game.
While the stat line may not have looked the prettiest and may not have been the best, right? 16 of 27, completing 59% of his passes for 187 yards. Roughly 7 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in this game. But he did run the ball for a touchdown. He did take a beating, but there was the big time throws on key downs. Fernando Mendoza gets the game ball of the week for me. And at the end of the day, some people may look at that game and say, "Oh, he's not he's not a first overall pick. He's not a franchise quarterback." To each its own. Right? To each its own. I disagree vehemently with it. I believe that this young man, the Raiders were there. And I think with Tom Brady being there, the minority owner, it's clear. They wanted to scout him live in person. They wanted to see how the things went. And they watched the guy take hits, multiple hits, take a beating, and keep pushing, keep ticking, keep trucking, keep moving. And then the big time, the back shoulder fade throws too. Charlie Becker, who's their contested ball, probably their best contested ball winner, especially down the field. Not just the back shoulder fade, but he high points over you consistently. You know what I mean? Ex Brandon Finney Jr., Brandon Finney from Oregon. He's like 6'2", 210, and he high pointed over him. Because Charlie Becker's 6'4", like 6'4". So when it comes down to Mendoza, man, and why he earned it, it was the gritty performance, gutting this performance out, man, toughness. And I think what's crazy is that touchdown run, right? Like that's going to be on a loop. That's going to be in Indiana state sports history, right? The Pacers. This means more. Indiana fans, let me know if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know in the comments, or if you're listening to this on audio, at me on Twitter, DP_NFL, or you can join the the Everydayer Club, join the invite members only Discord server, and then you can let me know in there, right? I'm just saying, I'm just telling you what I know, okay? I'm just telling you what I know. You can do that, all right? But nonetheless, let me know, however your means be, let me know. But yeah, like this might feel bigger than the Pacers getting to the NBA Finals last year, right? Of course, Tyrese Halliburton tore his Achilles, I believe, and everything like that. But Fernando Mendoza, that run, just man, like QB draw. You gotta trust your quarterback. And he's not a Cam Newton, right? He's not 255. He's not Anthony Richardson. He's not built like Will Levis. He's not built like an action figure, but he's still powered through that run. Changing direction, changing course, reversing course back in the middle of the field, in the congestion, and then the dive, taking a hit from Mohamed Toure in the back. Man, that I saw the shoulder pad in his back when he dove across, right? And his team loved it, and that's why he's a franchise quarterback. It's those type of plays, those type of things where you say, you know what? I'm putting my body on the line for my team. And when you do things like that, your team will always, it will galvanize them. They will rally around you. So then when I make that back shoulder fade, Charlie Becker's going to make sure he comes down with it. Even if I'm a slightly off and I threw it a little to too much velocity, right? It got to you a little quicker than you expected. Even if I was a little rushed or whatever the case may be, and the placement wasn't elite, it was good, but it wasn't my best. Your receiver still galvanized to make the play. So Las Vegas Raiders, hey, hats off. Kudos to you. You got yourself your franchise quarterback coming up soon in the NFL draft, as long as you don't make a foolish decision. But Fernando Mendoza gets my game ball of the week. Again, tough, gritty. He gutted out this performance, took hits in the pocket and as a runner out of the pocket, make big-time throws on key third and fourth down plays. Man, what more do you want from a franchise quarterback? I know you want all the 400-yard performances, but stats don't travel. Skill sets, elite processing, elite accuracy and ball placement, toughness, grit, arm talent, mobility, the skills translate to the league. Numbers, they're cool and all, but they stay right in college. They don't follow you to the NFL. But guys, that's our show. Recapping the college football playoffs, the national championship game, the last game of our college football season. And we got one more game coming up, though. And sounds like the Senior Bowl. Yes, sir. We got the Senior Bowl coming up next week. Again, we will be boots on the ground at practice every single day, telling you what we saw, all the good things. So as always, guys, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.